is an important social determinant of health.
Women's pensions, for example, in OECD countries are 27% lower than that of men. So you see the gap between high and low income and the gap between high and low educational attainment is larger among women than it is among men.
The argument I'm putting here is that you cannot dissociate gender from other risk factors that are existing in the society. I'm also thinking about what the countries are embracing today, the principle of universal health coverage, access, financial protection, health workforce issues. And I think how do we get this issue of gender much more into those universal health coverage?
And you see, even in sectors that are heavily dominated by women, so nursing, for example, a study in England suggested that only 7% of nurses are men, but they're twice as likely to be promoted. And actually, 29% of doctors in 1990 were women, at least in the OECD. But this year it's expected to reach parity. You know, so these ideas I think are outdated, and I think that really points to the fact that, I mean, quite frankly, in a way this is kind of a men's issue. You know, you look in the room, it's all women. And women are taking these jobs and women are stepping up. What you don't see is men moving into the jobs that were traditionally women's.
Women provide much more unpaid work. Actually, on average, they provide 3 times more unpaid work than men. They just distribute their time differently. In the long run, what this means is that women invest their resources in activities that don't bring direct financial benefits to them.
We've also heard that women are twice as likely to stop working completely as men, and they reduce their hours.
You see enormous country variation, but the one thing that is systematic and uniform across all countries that we looked at, developed countries again, is the fact that women provide more care than men.
We found that in 2015, there was 82 billion hours of informal care provided to people with dementia. And the majority of this, 71% of this, is provided by women. These are daughters and daughters-in-law that are expected to take care of their parents, their mother-in-law, and they often have their own children that they're caring for. And these are really complex issues. More women than men are living with dementia. We know that they have a higher risk of getting dementia, and we also know that their symptoms are more severe and that it progresses faster.
It's not only that there's a big gender gap in care provision, there's also a very gendered way in which care is provided. So then it's not surprising, looking back, to see that the effects of care are different between men and women.
So awareness of mental illness and awareness of taking treatment is far away in the rural area in India. In India, scenario is a little different. If any husband is suffering from mental illness, his wife is taking his care, lot of care. But if that woman is suffering from any mental disorder or any such type of problem, her husband,
Out.
he out, like that. Country like India, government not providing the social security for this type of women.
Who are the influencers? Who are the people out there that can raise awareness, that can influence and convince?
And I think the other issue when it comes to this is because it's difficult to measure the improvements in terms of clinical issues, it's difficult to get people to pay attention.
What we can do to enable there to be health systems that are more joined up so that there is opportunities for families to get access to good care, so they don't have to rely on family members to do this.
Much work to be done in bridging gaps, primarily access gaps, education, technology.
The bottom line here is that the outcomes for women are disproportionately worse than compared to men. And the question is that as a community, how can we do it together? And this is the role that both women and men need to play.